Hello everyone, this is Sherry from Lucky Dog Creations.
And this is Buddy. He's the top dog of Lucky Dog Creations.
Today is my very first video, so wish me luck. Today we are going to do the very basic bath bombs. And I find my recipe works really well for me, but it may not work well for you. It all depends on your altitude and your humidity as to exactly how you want to tweak the recipe. I live in a high altitude with low humidity, so this is what works for me. You want to take a cup of baking soda, and a half cup of Epsom salt, a half cup of citric acid, and a half cup of cornstarch. Now that is the dry ingredients. Let me move this stuff out of the way. And then you want to go ahead and take a whisk. A wire whisk for me works better than the plastic whisks or silicone whisks. And you just kind of stir them all together. Try to break up any of the big clots because it works easier if you have it smoother. Sometimes I just reach in and break them up. It's easier than the whisk. And that's looking pretty good. There are a few little clumps still, but that will eventually get out by the time you whisk a lot when you add all the liquid stuff together. Okay, so that's looking pretty good there. And let me go grab all the stuff that I need for the liquid stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I already put 5 teaspoons of water in my glass. I like to do 6 teaspoons of the liquid. You can add 5 teaspoons of water and 1 teaspoon of oil. I'm using vitamin E oil. That seems to work the best for me. Or you can do 4 teaspoons of water, 2 teaspoons of oil, depending on how much oil you want to add. And like I said, the humidity and the altitude will change how your bath bomb turns out. So you may have to tweak the amount of liquid towards where your location is. So I've added the 5 teaspoons of water. I'm going to add the 1 teaspoon of the vitamin E oil. Okay, so I like to use 2 teaspoons of the essential oil, 2 teaspoons of one scent, or 1 teaspoon of one scent and 1 teaspoon of a different scent. So today I'm going to try something. I haven't combined them before, but I'm going to use jasmine. So 1 teaspoon of jasmine essential oil. And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of eucalyptus oil. And a little more or a little less is not going to matter a whole lot. It depends on how strong you want your scent to be anyway, as to exactly how much you want to put in. I like a stronger scent because when I'm taking a shower or a bath, I like the scent to just come up and hit me right in the face. Okay, so then I'm going to give it a little stir to mix up all the water and the oils. And then I am going to add the coloring. And I chose I think it's kind of like a purplish color. I have no idea. It's from China, so I can't read it. But the more drops, of course, that you add, the deeper the color is. But also the more drops that you add, the more wet your mix is going to be. And you want it to be a certain consistency for the bath bombs to stick together and work well. So you do need to bear that in mind. So I'm just going to add a few mixes to this. I haven't used this color before, so hopefully that'll turn out. And I will mix it up. It's kind of a pinkish color. Now the next step is the most important, because the citric acid and the baking soda is what activates the fizz. You have to make sure that it doesn't activate too soon before it ends up in your bath water. So what you want to do is constantly mix as you're dropping in the water. I use this little tablespoon here just so I know that I'm going to do it a little bit at a time. So I'll pour some of this water in, and then I'm going to just dribble it in and stir after each time I drop a drop in until it's all absorbed into it. So I'll show you just a little bit. See, just a little bit of drop and stir. And you want to just make sure, because if it starts to activate, it will fizz, and then there'll be less fizzing that will happen when you put the bath bomb in the water. Another little drip and stir. And you can probably see it does fizz a little bit, but if you get after it really, really quick like that, will eliminate the excess foaming, so you'll have better fizz in the bath. And let me go ahead and finish doing this, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, so I am almost done adding the liquid, and I think that one arm's going to be a lot stronger than the other, because you do a lot of whisking. But it's with this recipe, I hardly ever have to add baking soda if it's too wet. You just want to add a little bit at a time if it's too wet. If it's too dry, get like a spray bottle and just spritz a little bit at a time and whisk after each time, because you don't want to keep having to add baking soda and water to get your amount right. But again, like I said, it all depends on your altitude, and it also depends on the humidity. And you're going to find out that, what may work for you won't work for somebody else. That's why when I first started, I scoured the internet, YouTube, whatever, and watched a lot of videos. My very first bunch was very sad until I found this recipe. So, do go and explore and watch all the videos that you can to learn all about it, so you can make the best bath bombs that you can, and learn more. Learn, about embedding, and learn about, putting in surprise toys. Learn about silicone molds. Learn about, the flowers and the dyes, and hopefully, once I get comfortable with doing these videos, I want to do more, and then I can go over some of those with you, and maybe we can even learn together on some of them, because I haven't learned a lot of that stuff, or a lot of that stuff has turned out really well for me. It takes a lot of practice, and you can be the most experienced person with bath bombs, and you can get a batch that is not going to turn out. Okay, so I've got all of that liquid in. Just let me incorporate it a little bit. The color did not turn very pink, which is okay. Nothing wrong with an off-white bath bomb. And you want to make sure that your bath bomb has a consistency of wet sand. Best way to do is pick it up. If it has like a little formation but it's not real hard, it should be good. Now there's a lot of ways to mold these and let them dry, and some people put them in their mold. You want to pack them down as you're putting them in the mold. A lot of people will let them dry in the mold for 24 hours. Some people will take them out right away and let them dry for 24 hours. And I've tried a few different ways, and the way I've found best is it takes about 2 hours. Okay, after you get that packed down, you want to put some loose stuff on there. And hopefully this will work out because I'm on the camera, you know, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't actually stick together. But the way I found it is that I will take, and I'll take the top of the mold off, and I will let it dry for 30 minutes. Then I will flip it over into the other side of the mold and let it dry for 30 minutes. Then I flip it over again and put it in the refrigerator, which is, you know, helps it dry a little bit quicker, for 30 minutes. And then I flip it over again and let it dry in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. I have a handy dandy timer that helps me know when my 30 minutes is up so I can go do other things. And then after that's done, I quickly shrink wrap it so then when it finishes drying, it shouldn't crack. And so far, that's the way it's been working the best for me. Okay, so I've got both of these together. You squeeze them together. You don't really need to twist them, but some people do twist them. And sometimes I do, but generally I don't. And you just kind of squeeze them so they're together in one shape. And then it's not going to work because I am on camera. And sometimes when they don't work, you know, it's not a big deal. Just crumble it up. It could be because your mix is too wet. Sometimes it could be because it's too dry. Sometimes it could be just because you didn't pack it good enough. And generally when that happens, and they don't want to stick together, I just grab one of my other molds, like my heart-shaped mold, and put them in that. So I may end up having to do that as well. You know, that's one thing about having videos. There's nothing wrong with showing your mistakes, your trials and tribulations, because, you know, that way when you're watching that, you realize, oh, well, everybody's human. If mine don't turn out, all I got to do is just try again, and maybe next time it'll turn out. So I'm hoping this time they will turn out, because I don't want to look really stupid on there, because, you know, that's the way you feel when that happens. So this time I'm going to twist it a little bit, because sometimes if it doesn't want to go just by pressing, it works better if you twist it, but I don't usually like to twist it. And there you have it, perfectly shaped. And now I'm going to go ahead and let it dry like this for 30 minutes. Then after the 30 minutes, I'll do this, take the lid off, and let it dry that way for 30 minutes. Then I will put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes this way. Then I will flip it back over, put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes that way, and then I'll go ahead and shrink wrap it right away. I won't probably show you the shrink wrapping, but I will show you the finished product, so I'll see you in about 2 hours. Okay, I just wanted to show you that I am doing a heart-shaped mold. It does have a removable back, which helps it push it out when it's ready to be flipped over or when it's done. And this is probably be the one that I will show to see how well it fizzes at the end of the video. I didn't have enough to do another bath bomb itself. That's why I chose to go ahead and do a heart-shaped one. I have some other shapes too, such as seashells, that sort of thing. But so it's always nice to have more than just the bath bomb shapes themselves, just in case you have extra, but not enough to fill it. Or you could just, you know, fill half of one of these and make it a dome-shaped one, which works as well too. Okay, so I just wanted to show you when I flipped it over, just in case it doesn't want to come off. You can tap this and then lift it up and have it come open, and then you have the other side, and then you let it dry for 30 minutes as well before you put it in the refrigerator. Okay, so after 2 hours, my bath bomb is done. This is the heart-shaped one that I'm going to be throwing into the water to see if it fizzes. It does look like it turned out really well, so I'm excited to see how it turns out. So, let's see. Here goes. And it looks like it's a success. It is fizzing quite nicely. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and ring the little bell so you can get notification whenever I make a video. I do plan on making more. This seems to worked out pretty good. If you have any comments, please make a comment and I will get back to you on that. Thank you for actually being with me on my very first video. Please thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, whatever. I would appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye.